Psalm 119:25, the Hebrew letter of Daleth, the psalmist's soul's bondage. The psalmist is struggling between his soul's bondage to earthly things and his inner insight of spiritual inclinations. His soul cleaves to worldly desires, and his heart melts with heaviness in the next 8 verses. The psalmist's heart craves influence from the divine word. In the next few verses, the conflict finds resolve when the word in the heart arouses the soul to prayer. In these next 8 verses of Psalm 119:25-32, each begins with the Hebrew letter of Daleth, the fourth in the Hebrew alphabet. Verse 25, Depressed to the dust is my soul, quicken thou me according to thy word. The psalmist is struggling between his soul's bondage to earthly things and his inner insight of spiritual inclinations. His soul cleaves to worldly desires, and his heart melts with heaviness, engulfed by cries for enlightenment in a body that is a spiritual prison dominated by his inherited Adamic nature. The psalmist's heart craves influence from the divine word, lamenting the morning darkness of the unredeemed mind. The conflict finds resolve when the word in the heart arouses the soul to prayer. Charles Spurgeon applies the synonyms for the acronym relating to Daleth in part that he was overwhelmed by sorrow and grief. It sings of depression, in the spirit of devotion, determination, and dependence. Recorded from the treasury of David, we find these 8 verses of this description of the alphabetic arrangement by Theodore Kubler. Verse 25. Depressed to the dust is my soul, quicken thou me according to thy word. Verse 26. Declared have I, to thee, my ways, and thou heardest me, teach me thy statutes. Verse 27. Declare thou to me the way of thy precepts, so shall I talk of thy wondrous works. Verse 28. Dropping is my soul for heaviness, strengthen thou me according to unto thy word. Verse 29. Deceitful ways remove from me and grant me thy law graciously. Verse 30. Determined have I upon the way of truth, thy judgments have I laid before me. Verse 31. Deliberately I have stuck unto thy testimonies, O Lord, put me not to shame. Verse 32. Day by day I will run the way of thy commandments when thou shalt enlarge my heart. As we move through these 8 verses, we are smart to remember that the worldly person finds his greatest joy cleaving to the things of the world. That is Satan's curse upon the unredeemed. The serpent's curses, upon him as he creeps close to the earth all the days of his life, but even for the unredeemed, their weary soul may find refreshment in the living word of God.